The great hall of the Galactic Assembly shone like a sun made of glass and steel. Thousands of alien delegates sat on wide tiers, their skins and shells glowing under the pale blue lights. The air hummed with whispers, with translator drones darting like silver insects. It was supposed to be an ordinary session, trade disputes, border talks, resource quotas. But everyone felt a quiet tension. Something unusual was coming. At the center table sat the delegation from Earth. Only 3 humans had been invited this time, but their quiet presence filled the hall more than a whole fleet could. The first was Ambassador Ruiz, tall and calm, dressed in a simple dark suit that looked strange among the bright robes and living garments of the other species. Beside her sat Dr. Kian, a thin scientist with tired eyes, and Security Officer Malik, whose sharp gaze never stopped moving. They had arrived without fanfare, spoken little, and carried no gifts or demands. That alone made the others uneasy. Humans rarely came without reason. A soft chime echoed. The Speaker of the Assembly, a vast jelly-like being named Voral, began to speak. Its voice came as light and sound at once, translated instantly into every ear. We welcome all worlds to this session. The matter of the neutral zone dispute will begin shortly. Earth delegation, are you prepared to? Voral stopped. The space where the humans sat was empty. The translator drones spun in confusion. Several alien guards shifted nervously. Just one heartbeat before, the 3 humans had been there, real, solid, breathing. Now only their chairs remained, one still rocking gently as if someone had just stood up. The smell of human coffee still floated in the air. But the humans themselves were gone. Panic broke out in waves. A winged delegate screeched, "Invisibility tech." Another hissed, "Assassination." Security fields crackled to life around the chamber. The speaker's translucent body darkened with alarm. "Lock all doors. Scan for phase shifts," it ordered. "Find the humans." Dozens of sensors swept the area. No hidden figures, no teleport signatures, no quantum traces. It was as if the humans had been erased from existence. The Assembly had seen wars, coups, even planets vanish, but never this. Nothing vanished from this hall. Not without permission. Far above, in the viewing galleries, citizens from 100 worlds watched the scene unfold on giant holoscreens. Rumors spread like fire. Had Earth been attacked? Had it launched a secret strike? Was this some new form of threat? The galaxy had always seen humans as unpredictable, but this was different. Officer Malik's communicator lay on the table, still blinking with an unread message. Dr. Kian's notebook sat open to a page filled with strange symbols not in any known script. And Ambassador Ruiz had left behind a single thin coin of dull metal, its surface engraved with a spiral that led inward to nothing. None of these objects gave any answers. A small alien delegate, no taller than a child, crept closer to the empty chairs. Its antennae quivered. It touched the coin. A shiver of static jumped into the air and a faint whisper in an unknown language flickered through the translation network. Every screen in the hall flickered at once, then went black for a heartbeat before returning. The whisper had sounded almost like a plea. The speaker raised one massive tendril. "We will not descend into chaos," it declared, though its body pulsed with fear colors. "We will find the truth." But even as it spoke, deep in the bowels of the station, warning lights began to flash. Communications to Earth had gone silent. No ship responded. No satellite answered. The entire Sol system was off the grid. A cold hush spread through the great hall. The galaxy had seen many strange events, but never had a whole homeworld gone dark. Delegates exchanged glances of suspicion and dread. Some were thinking of war. Some were thinking of escape. All were thinking of humanity, mysterious, stubborn humanity, vanishing without a word. In a corner, hidden from the cameras, a single maintenance drone flickered with a pattern that was not part of its program. It pulsed 3 times, paused, pulsed again. A code. A message. A warning. If anyone had known human Morse, they would have recognized it instantly. Help US. But no one in the hall spoke Morse. The speaker's voice trembled for the first time in 100 years. Security teams will search the station, it ordered. All communications must be restored. Until then, this assembly is in emergency session. Beyond the station's walls, the stars burned cold and bright. A fleet of unknown ships, invisible to ordinary sensors, drifted in the darkness between systems. And on one of those ships, 3 humans sat in a sealed chamber, staring at a view of the assembly hall through unseen eyes. Their faces were pale but determined. They had vanished, yes, but not by choice. Somewhere in the dark, a voice spoke softly to them. You came when we called, it said. Now you will see what your kind is truly capable of. Ambassador Ruiz closed her eyes and whispered, Earth will not stay silent. And far away, on a planet that had just gone dark, something vast and old stirred awake. The chamber where the 3 humans sat was round and dim. Its walls were smooth and black, like stone that had been polished by water for 1,000 years. A single blue light hung in the center, swaying gently as if there were a breeze, though no air moved. The floor was soft, almost alive under their boots. Ambassador Ruiz pressed her palm flat against the wall. This isn't any material I know, she said quietly. Her voice echoed strangely. We were taken without warning, without a signal. This is no ordinary abduction. Dr. Kian kept staring at a small tablet he had hidden in his sleeve. The device blinked a weak red light. My instruments show nothing, he murmured. No star patterns. No gravitational field. It's as if we're nowhere. His hands trembled, but his eyes burned with curiosity. Security Officer Malik stayed near the only visible opening, a door that had no seams, only a faint circle etched into the wall. He shifted his weight like a soldier waiting for a fight. Someone wanted us here alive, he said. They could have killed us in the assembly hall. They didn't. That means they want to talk. A voice came again, not from a speaker but from the walls themselves. It was low and strange, like many voices speaking at once, but the words were clear. You were chosen, it said. You heard the signal we sent. Ruiz straightened. We heard nothing. We were at a meeting. You heard, the voice insisted. Your machines answered even when you did not know. A shape appeared in the blue light. At first it looked like a shadow. Then it moved, and they saw that it was made of threads of silver light weaving together, forming a tall, thin figure with no clear face. It was neither solid nor smoke. It tilted its head as if curious. Dr. Kian whispered. Not on any record. No known species. The figure spoke again. We are the ones who hide. We are older than your sons. We never interfere. But now the balance is breaking. The assembly is blind. We need your kind. Ruiz crossed her arms. If you need help, why kidnap us? Why shut down our planet? The silver figure shimmered. Because your own kind would not believe. Because there is a weapon moving in the dark between the stars. It feeds on signals, on minds, on order itself. It has already entered your system. Your world has been silenced to protect it. But time is short. Malik's jaw tightened. What do you want us to do? You will speak for us. You will bring the assembly to action. Or there will be nothing left to assemble. Dr. Kian frowned. If Earth is cut off, how can we even contact the assembly? The silver figure's threads spun faster, and the blue light pulsed. We will send you back with proof. But you must see first. You must know what comes. The walls dissolved. The 3 humans gasped as the chamber melted into a window of stars. They were no longer standing on a floor but floating above a vast black sea where stars flickered like dying embers. In the distance, something moved, a shape so huge it blocked starlight like a shadow across a sun. It was not a ship. It was not a planet. It was something between thought and matter, coiling slowly, stretching across space. Dr. Kian's voice was a whisper. That That's impossible. It feeds, the silver figure said. Every signal, every message, every thought that travels through the void. It grows on noise. It will reach your assembly next. Already, it listens. The three humans stared in silence. Even Malik, who had faced wars and disasters, felt a tremor of fear. Ruiz forced her voice to be steady. Then we fight it. The figure's threads flickered like lightning. Your kind can. No other can. You move not as one but as many. You are chaos that makes order. You can hide in plain sight. That is why we call you. Then send us back, Malik said. Now. The blue light dimmed. We will, the voice said. But once you return, they will not trust you. They will think you brought the silence with you. You must hold their fear. You must show them the truth before the shadow feeds. Ruiz stepped closer to the figure. We will. But if anything happens to Earth. The figure's threads reached toward her, stopping just short of her hand. Your world still lives. But its sky grows thin. Hurry. The chamber snapped shut again. The blue light flared. A rush of sound filled their ears, like a storm moving backward. The floor vanished. The three humans felt a pull, a drop, a flash. And they were back. They were standing in the middle of the assembly hall, under 1,000 shocked eyes. Security fields still glowed. The speaker's tendrils froze mid-motion. Alarms still flashed red. But in the humans' hands were 3 small crystals of silver light, pulsing softly like hearts. Proof. The hall erupted in shouting. They've returned. What are those things? Seize them. Malik lifted his badge high. Stand down, he barked, his voice echoing. Ruiz held the crystals up for all to see. We were taken, she said, her voice calm but ringing like steel. We bring warning. Above them, unseen, the maintenance drone pulsed again. Morse. A message only humans would read. Time is short. The great hall of the Galactic Assembly froze. Every delegate, every guard, every camera locked on the 3 humans who had reappeared out of nowhere. The security fields still glowed around the chamber like cages of light. The speaker's translucent body rippled dark and pale, a sign of deep fear. Ambassador Ruiz stood tall, the silver crystals glowing faintly in her hands. We were taken without warning, she said slowly so the translators would echo her words in every language. We have been shown what comes. The silence around Earth is not an attack by us. It is a shield. A shadow moves between the stars. It feeds on your voices. Her calm voice cut through the hall. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Then the shouting began. They lie, screeched a winged delegate from the upper tiers. They bring weapons into our chamber. They are infected, hissed another. Quarantine them. Dozens of guards aimed weapons that shimmered with strange colors. Security drones formed a ring around the humans, humming low like a swarm of angry bees. Dr. Kian clutched his crystal against his chest, trembling. Officer Malik shifted his stance, ready but not threatening. Ruiz raised one hand. Look at the crystals, she said. Scan them. They are not weapons. They are evidence. A spider-like delegate on long thin legs scuttled closer, its eyes glowing green. It aimed a scanner at the crystal Ruiz held. The green light flickered, then died. The spider creature made a noise of confusion. No known element, it clicked. No known signal. It is not here. A low ripple of fear passed through the hall. The speaker's voice wavered. Return to your seats, it said. Let the humans explain. But suspicion was a living thing. Delegates whispered, hissed, clicked. They vanished, they returned, they speak of shadows. In the gallery above, civilians began to panic. The sound of wings, claws, and feet filled the space like a rising storm. Officer Malik's eyes swept the room. His soldier's instinct felt danger building. Ambassador, he murmured. They're going to rush us. Ruiz did not lower her voice. Then we speak faster. She turned to the speaker. You have always doubted us. But you know our history. We are not your enemy. If this shadow reaches the assembly, there will be no worlds left to govern. Dr. Kian held his crystal out. This thing eats communication, he said, his voice shaking but loud enough to carry. Every signal makes it stronger. Already it is listening now. The hall's giant holoscreens flickered. For a second, a black ripple moved across them, like ink spilled on glass. It was gone in a blink, but many saw it. A deep murmur rolled through the chamber. The speaker lowered a tendril. Release the security fields, it ordered. The shimmering cages vanished. Let them speak. Malik exhaled slowly. But the danger was not over. Across the room, a tall, armored delegate moved toward a console. Its claw hovered above a red glyph. Malik recognized a military emergency trigger. He stepped between the humans and the console. Stop, he said. You push that, you bring guns into this room. You'll never hear what we have to say. The armored being hissed, its face hidden behind plates. You bring infection, it growled. We burn infection. Before it could strike, the maintenance drone above flickered again. The lights dimmed, then flashed in a strange pattern. The assembly's translation net spat out a sudden burst of sound, short, sharp tones. It was Morse again, now loud enough for everyone to hear. Look up. Every delegate tilted their head. The ceiling of the great hall was a huge dome of crystal showing the stars beyond. Now, slowly, those stars were dimming, one by one, like candles snuffed out. Dr. Kian's voice cracked. It's here. A hush fell over the hall. Even the armed delegate froze. Through the crystal dome they saw a black ripple spread across the starfield. It had no shape, yet it blotted out light. The shadow was moving, and it was close. Ruiz raised the crystal high. Its silver light brightened, casting long shadows. This is our proof, she said, her voice steady. This is why Earth went silent. We are not your enemy. We are your only warning. The speaker's body flared with a pale blue that meant urgency. Signal the fleets, it commanded. Evacuate the outer stations. Bring the science councils here. Now. Some delegates still hesitated. Some still gripped their weapons. But the black ripple above the dome grew larger. In the galleries, civilians screamed. The sound was thin, like air leaking from a great ship. Officer Malik squared his shoulders. Ambassador, he said, we've got their attention. Ruiz nodded once. Now we have to hold it. The silver crystals pulsed harder, beating like 3 hearts. Somewhere beyond sight, the ones who hide were watching. And out in the darkness, the shadow listened, hungrier than before. The dome above the assembly was no longer a calm view of stars. It had become a black tide crawling across the heavens. Lights on the station flickered like dying candles. Translator drones sputtered. Every voice in the hall sounded thinner, weaker, as though distance itself were being swallowed. Ambassador Ruiz held her silver crystal high. Its glow spread wider now, a soft shield against the creeping dark. Listen to me, she called, her voice echoing. This shadow does not stop at Earth. It eats everything that speaks, everything that sends a signal. If you fight alone, you will fall one by one. If you fight together, you may survive. The speaker's translucent body quivered with fear colors but forced a steady tone. Delegates of the assembly, it said, we will form an emergency response. All fleets are to be summoned to the core channel. All science councils to this station. The humans will lead. Many delegates hissed and chittered at that. Humans are unstable, one protested. They may have brought the shadow here. Officer Malik stepped forward. You saw the sky go black. You saw our crystals. Do you still think we control that? His voice had the hard edge of a soldier. We came to warn you. We'll stand on the front line, but not with your hands at our throats. The armored delegate who had nearly triggered the alarm lowered its claw slowly. Around the hall, weapons dropped a few degrees. Suspicion was not gone, but survival spoke louder. Dr. Kian crouched over a console near their seats. He set his crystal on the surface. The silver glow seeped into the machine, lighting its veins like rivers. Numbers and patterns appeared, strange curves that looked like waves eating themselves. "This is its path," he said, pointing to a twisting black spiral on the display. "It is already inside your network. It moves faster with every transmission. We need to cut the signal lines before it eats the assembly whole." "Cut our lines," gasped a winged delegate. "Without communication, our fleets are blind." "Blind is better than dead," Kian said. Ruiz turned to the speaker. "You must make the choice. Now." The speaker's body pulsed once, twice. Then it spoke with a voice that shook the hall. "All long-range channels are to be severed. Secure communications only by local light pulses. Shut down all non-essential networks. Do it." Across the chamber, consoles flashed red as commands rippled outward. Whole sectors of the galaxy went silent by order of the assembly. For the first time in centuries, the great web of instant talk between worlds was cut. The sound of 1,000 translators clicking off filled the hall. A sudden stillness followed. Only the humans' crystals still pulsed with light. The black tide on the dome hesitated. For a heartbeat, it seemed to recoil, as if confused. Dr. Kian's eyes lit with hope. "It's working," he whispered. But then the shadow shuddered and changed. Threads of darkness began to push inward like claws scratching at the dome. Small sparks rained from the ceiling. The station itself groaned. Malik's hand went to his sidearm out of reflex, though it would do nothing against a thing that ate signals. "What now?" he muttered. Ruiz's eyes stayed on the speaker. "We cut its food. Now we must move it. Draw it away from the assembly." "How?" asked the speaker. Ruiz closed her fingers around the crystal. "With a decoy. A signal strong enough to lure it, but hidden so it cannot feed until it's far from here." Dr. Kian's mind raced. "We could use the core channel's old jump beacons. They're massive and still have power. If we overload them with a single human data burst, it would look like a feast." "And then?" Malik asked. "Then we detonate the beacon once it's full," Kian said softly. "Or collapse space around it. Starve it." The speaker's tendrils rippled with indecision. "We risk everything," it said. "You risk everything by staying still," Ruiz answered. Silence fell again. The black claws scratched harder at the dome. A crack appeared, glowing faintly with static. Civilians screamed in the galleries. The choice could not wait. Finally the speaker's body flashed bright blue. "Do it," it ordered. "The humans will guide the beacon strike. Our fleets will guard the path." Malik exhaled and checked his gear. "Guess we're in charge," he murmured. Ruiz lowered her crystal and looked at Kian. "Get us the beacon." Kian's fingers flew across the console. "Plotting now. We have maybe 1 hour before the shadow breaks through completely." Above them, the black tide swirled faster, a vast spiral of hunger. But for the first time, the assembly was moving as one. Ships prepared to launch. Networks went dark. And in the center of it all stood 3 humans, small figures with glowing crystals, trying to teach the galaxy how to fight a thing no one had ever seen. Somewhere in the unseen dark, the ones who hide whispered a single word through the crystals. "Hurry." The station's hangar roared with activity. Ships from 100 worlds floated side by side, their hulls glowing with shutdown systems to avoid feeding the shadow. Crews moved in silence, using hand signals instead of speech. Only the humans spoke aloud. Even whispers were dangerous now. Ambassador Ruiz, Dr. Kian, and Officer Malik stood at the foot of a long, black shuttle built by the Assembly's emergency fleet. It had no name, only a number. Its engines pulsed once, dimly, waiting for orders. "This shuttle will carry you to the old jump beacon," a tall insect-like commander said without a translator, clicking its mandibles slowly. Malik could barely understand, but nodded anyway. Every delegate had agreed to follow the humans' plan. It was strange and risky, but it was all they had. Ruiz touched the silver crystal around her neck. It felt warm, like a living heart. Once we reach the beacon, she said, we'll flood it with the human data burst. The shadow should chase it. Then your fleets must collapse the space around it. No signals until it's done. The commander clicked again and stepped back. 2 silent guards loaded supplies onto the shuttle. Old optical cables, storage cores, and a single small bomb built by the assembly's engineers. No one spoke of it, but everyone knew what it was for. Dr. Kian climbed aboard first, setting his crystal into the shuttle's console. The lights flickered as the human data burst began to build. Lines of code scrolled like a waterfall. It's working, he said softly. The beacon will look like a banquet to the shadow. Malik strapped in at the rear, checking a small rail weapon the assembly had given him. It would not harm the shadow, but it could stop anything else. Ready when you are, Ambassador, he said. Ruiz looked out at the hangar one last time. Hundreds of alien eyes watched them, suspicious, fearful, but also hopeful. She raised her hand in a silent salute, then stepped inside. The shuttle's hatch sealed. Engines hummed without sound. Slowly, like a ghost, it slid out of the hangar into the dark between stars. Beyond the station the shadow was waiting. It did not look like a ship, yet it moved. Threads of black curled and uncurled, reaching toward any flicker of energy. Where it passed, the stars behind it seemed to vanish. Inside the shuttle, Dr. Kian whispered as he worked. We're passing the perimeter. No transmissions. No pings. Just dead silence. Malik peered out a small viewport. The assembly's fleets floated far behind them like cold statues, their drives dark. Feels like a graveyard, he muttered. Ruiz kept her eyes forward. The beacon was still ahead, a massive metal ring from an age before instant networks, long abandoned but still powerful. Its skeleton hung in space like a broken crown, spinning slowly around a dead star. Perfect bait. As they drew closer, the silver crystals pulsed faster. A faint tremor passed through the shuttle, like a heartbeat in the hull. Kian's screen flickered. It's already noticed us, he said. We're shining too bright. Stay the course, Ruiz said. Load the burst. Kian's fingers moved faster. Data streamed into the beacon through the old optical cables they had thrown across to it. The ring's dead systems glowed pale, then brighter, then brilliant. For the first time in centuries the beacon awoke, sending out a pulse so strong the hull shook. Malik glanced back. Through the viewport the shadow stirred. Its threads twisted, coiling tighter, like a predator smelling prey. It began to move toward them, slow at first, then faster. It's working, Malik said. It's coming. Ruiz gripped the console. Then we hold our nerve. Don't send the detonation signal until it's close enough. Kian swallowed hard. Close enough meant suicide range. The beacon shone like a star now. Its ancient transmitters belched out the human data burst. Songs, images, words, chaos, everything humans had ever sent through space, compressed into a single impossible scream. The shadow lunged for it, threads stretching wide, blocking the stars completely. Almost there, Kian murmured. Sweat beaded on his brow. Get ready to jump, Malik said, hand on the emergency drive. The shuttle's crystals pulsed a warning. The voice of the ones who hide whispered faintly through them. Now or never. Ruiz stared at the shadow filling their view. She thought of Earth, of the assembly, of all the quiet faces waiting back at the station. She slammed her palm on the console. Detonate. Kian hit the command. A small, silent signal raced along the optical cable to the bomb embedded in the beacon's heart. For an instant nothing happened. The shadow wrapped itself around the beacon like a serpent around prey. Stars vanished. Then light erupted, white and silver, a bloom without sound. Space bent. The beacon folded in on itself, collapsing into a point of nothing. The shuttle lurched as shockwaves of bent gravity rippled past. Malik's hands danced on the controls. "Jumping," he barked. The shuttle's drive fired once. The stars blurred. The blackness vanished. They reappeared far from the beacon, engines dark again. Behind them the stars flickered back into view. Where the beacon had been, only a faint scar of darkness remained, twisting slowly and fading. Kian stared at his screen. It's gone," he whispered. "Or at least, scattered." Malik didn't relax his grip. "Or it's following the jump," he said. Ruiz closed her eyes, feeling the crystal's slow pulse. The voice of the ones who hide came again, softer now. "You have delayed it. But this is only the beginning." She opened her eyes to the silent stars. "Then we're not done," she said quietly. And somewhere out in the deep dark, something huge and hungry shifted again. The shuttle glided back into the assembly's hangar in total silence. No fanfare, no cheering, only rows of alien eyes watching from behind darkened viewports. Ships floated like statues, drives still cold to avoid feeding the thing they had just lured away. Even the air inside the hangar felt heavy, as if sound itself did not trust to move. Ambassador Ruiz stepped down first. The silver crystal on her chest pulsed faintly, weaker than before but still alive. Dr. Kian followed, his hands trembling from exhaustion. Officer Malik came last, eyes scanning every shadow as if expecting an ambush. The three humans looked small against the vast hall, but all movement in the hangar stopped when they appeared. A translator drone drifted forward, then hesitated. Its usual humming voice was gone, instead it flicked a strip of light across a wall. Old optical code, flashes instead of sound. "Welcome back." Ruiz raised her hand. "We did it," she said aloud. Her voice echoed strangely in the great space. The beacon collapsed. The shadow scattered. "You can open your networks again, slowly." The speaker of the assembly floated into view, its translucent body dim, tendrils drooping. It signaled with faint light rather than voice. "Some systems report clear skies. Others still dark. What did you bring back?" Dr. Kian held up his crystal. "This shows its residue," he said. "It should tell us where the fragments go. We can track them." The speaker pulsed pale blue. "Doubt. You said it would be destroyed." "I said it would be scattered," Kian answered quietly. "A thing that old doesn't die easily." A shudder passed through the hall. For a long moment nobody moved. Then the speaker extended a single tendril toward Ruiz. "You will lead the next step. Humans know this enemy now." Many delegates hissed and clicked, but none openly opposed. They had seen the stars go black. They had seen the beacon collapse. They had seen the three humans return alive. Officer Malik stepped closer to Ruiz. "They're handing us the reins," he murmured. "You sure we want them?" "We don't have a choice," she whispered back. Dr. Kian crouched by a console and set the crystal into it. Light spilled across the screen, forming a map of the local arms of the galaxy. Thin dark threads snaked between systems like cracks in glass. "These are the fragments," he said. "They're small now, but they're moving. Feeding. If we don't intercept them, they'll grow again." The speaker signaled. "How do we intercept?" Ruiz looked at the map. The dark threads crossed trade lanes, comm relays, colonies. "We need quiet corridors," she said. "No signals, no transmissions. We'll hunt them the old way. We'll need volunteers from every fleet, but the command core must be human." The speaker's colors flickered with unease, but it did not argue. "The assembly agrees." From the upper tiers came a sudden crash. One of the viewing galleries went dark. Sparks fell. Guards rushed upward. A thin wailing sound echoed down, high and metallic. Dr. Kian's screen flickered. Malik's hand went to his weapon. "What now?" On the map, one of the dark threads pulsed brighter. It wasn't out in space. It was here, Inside the station, a low moan of static rolled through the hangar. Translator drones dropped from the air like stunned insects. Lights dimmed. The faint pulse of Ruiz's crystal stuttered. "It followed us," Kian whispered. "A fragment hitched a ride." The speaker's body flared bright panic colors. "Security teams contain it. Lock down this sector." Malik spun toward the upper tiers. He saw nothing but shadows and falling sparks. "We need containment," he barked. "Now." Ruiz gripped her crystal hard. "We can't let it reach the main network," she said. "Shut everything down again. Total blackout." The speaker hesitated, then sent the order. All remaining power cut out. Darkness swallowed the hangar, except for the soft glow of the 3 crystals. The sound of panicked breathing and clicking filled the void. In that blackness a shape moved, a ripple, thin but unmistakable, sliding along the ceiling like oil. It reached for the nearest translator node. Where it touched, metal turned dull and cracked. Kian's voice trembled. "It's smaller but faster." Malik raised his rail weapon. "Then we kill it here." "You can't kill it with bullets," Kian hissed. "Then tell me how," Malik snapped. Ruiz closed her eyes. She remembered the voice of the ones who hide, the faint whisper through the crystals. "You can hide in plain sight." She opened her eyes. "Light pulses," she said. "Not signals. Old light. Flood it with raw light." The speaker's dim body pulsed a question. Ruiz held her crystal high. "Do it now. Every ship, every panel, just shine." For a heartbeat nothing moved. Then hundreds of alien crew flicked manual beams on. Chemical lamps, emergency flares, even glowing shells ripped from their own armor, all thrown into the darkness at once. A flood of raw, dumb light poured across the hangar. The ripple froze, its threads twisting like smoke in wind. It quivered once, twice, then broke apart into sparks that drifted upward and were gone. Silence fell again. Only the crystals still glowed. Kian exhaled, shaking. That was only one fragment. Malik lowered his weapon. "And there are more." Ruiz looked up at the dark dome, now faintly shining from the scattered flares. "Then we hunt them," she said quietly. "One by one. Before they find their voices again." And somewhere deep in the shadows of the station, another ripple stirred. The station no longer glowed like a jewel. Most of its lights had been killed to starve the shadow. Only faint emergency lamps and chemical torches lit the corridors. Ships from every world floated outside like silent guardians, their drives dark. Inside, people and beings moved by hand signals and old lanterns. The galaxy had gone backward overnight, back to quiet, back to caution. In a sealed control chamber deep at the station's core, Ambassador Ruiz, Dr. Kian, and Officer Malik stood over a map of stars drawn in light on the floor. Dark threads snaked between systems like veins of ink. Tiny red dots marked where fragments of the shadow had been detected. The dots were spreading. 8 fragments confirmed, Kian said softly. 3 destroyed. 5 still moving. They're learning. They're hiding in our own quiet zones. Malik tapped one of the dots. "This one is heading toward the soul boundary," he said. "If it reaches Earth." "It won't," Ruiz said. Her voice was firm but her eyes were tired. "We end it here." The speaker's translucent body filled the other half of the chamber, faintly glowing. It pulsed a question. "How?" Ruiz looked up. "By doing what humans do best," she said. "We improvise." Kian brought up an old schematic of the station's inner ring, a vast hollow channel built centuries ago to test experimental drives. "We can turn the ring into a trap," he explained. "No signals, just a maze of mirrors and light pulses. We lure the fragments in one by one. Once inside, we collapse the ring. No space, no data, no escape." The speaker's colors flickered. "Dangerous. Many will die. More will die if we wait," Ruiz said. "You asked us to lead. This is the plan." Malik tightened his grip on his rail weapon. And we'll go in first. We'll bait it. Humans started this warning. We finish it. Hours later, the inner ring was ready. Miles of mirrored panels curved in a spiral, forming a corridor of reflected light. No electronics, no signals, only raw brightness pumped from chemical flares and spinning prisms. At the center waited a tiny, silent human probe, the bait, loaded with a final burst of chaotic human data, sealed so the shadow could only taste but not feed. Ruiz, Kian, and Malik stood at the entrance in lightweight suits. Around them alien volunteers prepared to close the gates. No one spoke. Only gestures passed between them. Kian adjusted the probe one last time. Once we release it, the fragment will follow, he whispered. We run. The gates close. The ring collapses. Simple. Nothing about this is simple, Malik muttered. Ruiz laid a hand on each of their shoulders. Stay with me, she said. No matter what happens, we don't stop moving. They pushed the probe into the ring. Its sealed burst began to glow faintly, like a spark in darkness. Then they ran. The fragment came almost at once, a smear of black smoke sliding along the ceiling, moving faster than thought. It hit the mirrored corridor and shuddered, confused by the bouncing light. It twisted after the probe, threads clawing at the walls. Behind it 2 more fragments joined, coiling like snakes. Faster! Malik shouted. They sprinted through the spiral, boots echoing on metal. Mirrors flashed light in all directions, dazzling their eyes. Behind them the shadow fragments hissed like static. At the exit an alien crew waited with manual levers. As the humans dove through, the gates slammed shut with a thunderous clang. The ring sealed. Ruiz turned to the speaker's massive tendril resting on the final lever. Now, she said. The tendril pulled. Deep in the station, ancient drives roared for the first time in centuries. The inner ring twisted, bending its own space inward. Mirrors shattered, light imploded, sound vanished. The trap collapsed into a point of silver fire. The station trembled. Flares blew out. A wave of stillness rolled through every corridor. Kian clutched his crystal. It pulsed once, twice, then went dark. Silence. Did it work? Malik asked, breathing hard. For a long moment nothing moved. Then slowly, faintly, the dome above the assembly flickered back to life. Stars shone again, not dim, not eaten, but bright and clear. No black threads moved among them. The speaker's body flared pale gold, relief. The shadow signals gone. Fragments gone. Cheers began, weak at first, then stronger, echoing through the dark station. Delegates who had not spoken aloud for days cried out together. For the first time since the humans had vanished, the assembly's voices rose without fear. Ruiz lowered her crystal. It was cold now, only a dull stone. She looked at Kian and Malik. We bought them time, she said softly. Maybe more than time. Malik let out a long breath. You think it's really over? Kian stared at the stars. Nothing that old ever truly dies, he said. But now the galaxy knows how to fight it. Thanks to us. Ruiz straightened. Around her aliens of every shape and color were watching, not with suspicion but with something new, respect. Then humanity will not stay silent, she said. We'll help them hunt the dark wherever it hides. Outside, the fleets began to light their drives again, one by one, sending beams of raw light across space. Not signals, but beacons of survival. The galaxy was no longer silent. It was awake. And far beyond the edge of known stars, in a place where no signal could reach, something vast and old paused, listening. For the first time in ages, it hesitated.